Do you suck at Marvel Rivals? Like, you're not terrible. You just feel stuck. I'm 7K2. I come from Valorant where I hit Radiant, and Marvel Rivals is actually my first hero shooter. I started in Season 2 and solo queued through Season 2.5. Now I'm playing one above all elo against the best players in the game. Today I'm going to break down 3 beginner tips that will instantly help you rank up in Marvel Rivals. And I'm going to explain why these things matter, not just what to do. Tip number 1 is target priority. This applies to every single role in the game, including supports. Target priority is simply knowing who to shoot or heal in each situation, prioritizing the most impactful target. For my DPS and tank players, if supports don't die, nothing does. One of the biggest mistakes I see is DPS and dive tanks sitting frontline shooting the enemy tanks. All you're doing is feeding the enemy supports ult charge, then your team gets ult cycled and instantly falls over because they have ults way faster than you. If you notice that nothing is dying in the front line, that's your cue to go take an off angle, go on a flank, or pressure the enemy supports directly. Once the support falls, the rest of the fight collapses. For my support players, target priority also applies to healing. A lot of support players in metal ranks just follow the tanks around and pocket them. If your tank is 600 HP and stable on the front line, it's completely okay to take your eyes off them for 2 seconds to heal a DPS fighting nearby. Keeping that DPS alive allows them to continue applying pressure, which wins fights far more often than overhealing a tank that isn't even in danger. TLDR, kill supports, heal the teammate that keeps the pressure alive, not just the tank. Whenever I play in meta ranks on my ult accounts or watch other players in those ranks, the biggest skill gap I notice is awareness. And I break this down role by role. For supports, there's a reason dive dominates in metal ranks. And there's a reason that once players hit gold, they instantly start banning heroes like Black Panther and Spider-Man. Please heal your other support. Going back to tip number 1, if supports don't die, nothing dies. If there's a Spidey or VP in the enemy team, you need to be constantly checking flanks. When there's an enemy committing to a flank, immediately look for your other support and start healing them as they take damage. This doesn't only apply to dive heroes though. For example, if you're walking back to point and you see a health on high ground shooting past you, I promise she isn't shooting to shoot. She's not shooting at nothing. Turn around because chances are you literally just died while everyone thought, oh, she's not shooting at me, so I'm fine. Same thing if a Venom or a Captain America or a hero like that, if a Venom swings past you or a Cap jumps past you, I promise you they're not exploring the map. Your Cloak and Dagger just got jumped because the enemies ran past everyone and hit your heal in their backline and no one turned around. TLDR, stop following your tanks like a lost dog. Heal your second support and look at what the enemy is shooting at. Look for where the enemy is trying to do damage. DPS. Awareness on DPS means understanding where the enemy DPS are positioned, what angles they're playing, and what heroes they are running. If the enemy has a hero like a Star-Lord, you need to be punishing his off angles, denying his value in your backline. If there's a Phoenix on height shooting down at your tanks, challenge that space, denying her value on the height, making her reposition, keeping her off your backline, making her go do something else, and ultimately making it harder for her to get picks. If they're diving, be ready to turn around and help your supports whenever the backline gets pressured. This awareness alone separates an average DPS player from a good DPS player. Tank players. Most of this overlaps with DPS awareness, but with more responsibility. If the enemy has dive on mag, bubble your supports whenever they're under pressure, bubble a DPS diving in the backline. For an example, if a Starlet goes in and flies using his E ability, if you bubble him, that allows him to live longer in the enemy backline before he has to come back for heals. And also bubbling your ulting teammates. Not just bubbling your supports when they ult, but if you bubble a Spidey before he ults, Spidey is the most vulnerable to CC. Any CC instantly cancels his ult and it's easy to deny his value. If you bubble that Spidey, it allows him to get his full ult off so he can't be CC. This isn't just tip for mags though. On tanks like Emma, if you know they have dive, you can time their dive so you can go and choke slam the enemy in the backline, stopping him from killing your supports. The general rule for tanks is you have more health than everyone else. If your team is backing up after losing a team fight and you're going to go regroup, don't immediately think I gotta run away. You should still be the one in the front taking the damage, using your body to shield your supports. If your supports are in front of you, majority of the time that's a positioning error on your part. Which brings me to my next tip, and the most important one. Positioning wins and loses games faster than aim ever will. Additional positioning would be the tanks in front, the DPS behind the tanks briefly peeking out to get a better angle on the supports, or going on an off angle or going on a flank. And supports should never be in front of the tanks, ever. If you're frontline on support, you're hard throwing. You're just feeding at that point. Supports are the most important role in a fight. If you die, the fight is usually over. tanks. Your positioning depends on the enemy positioning and your team's positioning. Your job is to tank space, but don't confuse that with walk forward at all costs, because you don't want to walk into a 1v6 and feed. Make sure your team is with you or call for them to walk forward. Always stay in line of sight of your healers. If you push behind the wall and stop getting healed, die and then spam need healing, that's 100% on you. TLDR for my tanks: take space, stay healable, move with your team. DPS. Before saying GG no heals, ask yourself, was I in a position where I could be healed? Defense positioning is about getting the best damage angle while taking the least damage possible. Take off angle so enemies can't easily shoot you. If they turn on you, you should be able to retreat back to your team immediately without taking a lot of damage before you die. General rule of thumb for DPS: if you're taking more damage than you're dealing, you're positioned poorly, you need to play more natural cover. For my support players, support positioning is critical. I said it before, you should never die in front of your tanks. Position yourself so you can heal multiple teammates at once. Use piercing heals to your advantage like Luna and Invis, or splash healing like Loki to farm your ult faster. Position yourself so you're healing multiple people at once instead of having to heal each person individually. This will ultimately farm your ult way faster than enemy team's ult. Final most important tip for my supports for being Dove: go to your second support so you guys can heal each other, keep each other alive. And if you don't have a second support, run towards your team, not away. If you back up, you isolate yourself, which is exactly what heroes like Daredevil, Spidey, and BP want. Running towards your team denies the isolation and keeps you alive. TLDR for my supports: stay behind tanks, heal efficiently, run toward help, and not away from it. If you learned something, let me know in the comments. If you got a question, join my Discord, links on screen and in the description. Good luck ranking up. Thanks for watching. God loves you.
The sky's got a heavy hand, and the snow is piling